Yo, so I'm back with another video fuse, and this week I'm going to be going over what specialisation best sets you up for going into the Special Forces. Before I get into it, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down below and the bell button, because I've got a whole series dedicated to answering questions about the Royal Marines, and I've also got other stuff like gym and bodybuilding, etc. Let's get straight into it. So, the main question, which specialisation would I suggest to best suit someone to go into being a mighty Special Forces operator?
Yeah, boy.
So I'm going to start by saying a specialisation is the thing that you train solely in. So you start as general duties, and then you can put in for your specialisation, whether that be something like a sniper, whether that be a mountain leader, whether that be a driver, whether that be a assault engineer. I have done a video on specialisation, so if you haven't seen that, head over to the channel and look at the series and then check that out. If I did have to pick a specialisation that would best suit you for going into the Special Forces, whether that is SBS or SAS, I would suggest probably mountain leaders, ML, purely because I know that the training process for both of them Special Forces, there's going to be a hell of a lot of yomping, a hell of a lot of walking with heavy kit essentially, and a hell of a lot of navigating. Being a mountain leader, you will have to be absolutely on point for your navigation, sole navigation, as well as probably group navigation, in all different terrains as well. A lot of mountain leaders will spend time all over the globe, including places like Norway, doing actual real mountain leading there. Not only that, they will always be carrying a lot of specialised kit, and that kit is obviously going to weigh a lot, which again is going to help you when you're going to be yomping with heavy weight. So the second specialisation that I would probably suggest, which is like a close sort of second, and it has similar attributes, would probably be the snipers, for the similar sort of reasons as I've mentioned the MLs, because you're going to be doing a lot of navigating yourself. You might be you and a spotter, you might be you by yourself, but I know that you have to be all over your navigation. Your shooting is obviously going to be on point, and also you're going to be carrying a lot of kit, the same sort of thing. You're going to be doing a hell of a lot of recce's, which again is going to be paramount in either of the Special Forces. So out of all of the specialisations, I would probably suggest them to ML and Sniper. However, I am going to tell you now, you do not need any specialisations to be able to go in to the SF and pass it successfully. I personally know a lot of people that have gone that route and been successful and got into the SF, and only one of them people actually was in the MLs. So that just goes to show that even though them two specs are probably the best suited for going into SF, that doesn't mean that if you haven't gone through them specialisations that you don't have a chance, or you have less of a chance, okay? Many years ago, when I actually came towards the end of Royal Marines training, my section corporal actually came and he spoke to all of the lads, and he said, listen, if you are thinking about going down the route of SF, whether it be SBS or SAS, your best bet is to actually go for it straight after passing out. Put in for it straight away. That's because you're at probably your fittest that you possibly could ever be. And he isn't wrong. I do know a few people that did go straight into SF from passing out and were successful. So there we go.
Obviously, that's the perfect scenario.
So if I look at the other end of the spectrum and I look at the worst possible spec that someone could be in, which is going to help them join the Special Forces, it's probably going to be a driver, because being a driver isn't really going to help any sort of fizz. It isn't going to help your navigation really. It isn't going to help aid anything towards that. But I do genuinely know of a few people that were in a driver billet, and whilst in there, they trained themselves, they took themselves out on the hills, they took themselves and done a lot of navigation, and then they went down that route and they passed and were successful.
That was legitness. Yeah.
So again, you do not need to be an ML or a sniper to actually go down that route. And them two specialisations, the mountain leader and the sniper, are two very sought after specs. So what does that mean? So essentially what happens is there's a certain amount of spaces that each specialisation can have. So therefore you can't have everyone passing out of training and everyone being a sniper, because that's the thing that everyone wants to be.
No!
So what happens is you end up getting put on a list of people, and you'll start at the bottom of that list, and as people go through and they either fail the sniper course or they pass the sniper course, and then there's too many positions, every position's full, and then someone pulls out, someone leaves the corps, and then you move slowly up that list until you get onto a sniper course. Both of them positions historically have big lists because they are sought after specialisations above, say, a driver. So what could happen is you pass out of training, you put in to be a mountain leader, you get on the list, and whilst you're on the list, you end up in a billet, maybe a driver, but you're not dedicated to the training. You're waiting to get into the mountain leaders for them to be able to train you up and to be able to give you that skill. And then what happens, it could be 2 years that you're waiting, and then you could end up going off of the idea, or you could end up losing the fizz that you maintained a high standard whilst you're in training all the way back to mountain leader, and then you've got to gain it back again, say in another couple of years. Next thing you know, it's been 4 years to which you could have actually tried that path already.
Try me, bitch.
Final suggestion for this video and going into a career of being SF, whether SBS or SAS, is going up to Faslane. So whilst I was staying at 4-3 Commando Faslane, the lads up there actually had a course put together specifically for people that had SF aspirations. Before you go on your SF acquaint, which is like the training for SF, and see if you actually pass your acquaint to get into SF, they had like a prerequisite course that you could go on, and it had all of the things that would be entailed in the acquaint. So all of the yomping style stuff, all of the navigation style stuff, and it was like a pre-beat up basically.
Wasn't that delicious?
And I know that that was very good because a couple of people who I know went on that course, said that it was really good, ended up going down there and was glad that they'd done that pre-course. So that's the only other suggestion that I can have. If that is still running, please confirm before you end up putting in to go there that that sort of stuff is still running. But I hope you liked the video, and until next time, let's make some gains. Boom.